three more speakers, so bear with us. Next, we'll talk about the legal implications from a perspective of a local attorney, Simon Trotman. And then we'll hear from Melissa Silva from El Burrito Mercado as a proprietor of a local business. And finally, Mary Hernandez from Executive Director of Mi Casa Minnesota, who is a nonprofit that has been serving a lot of our community with rapid response.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Simon Troutman Cordova, and I'm one of the founders of Troutman Martin Law. And as a law firm, we represent everybody, but primarily we represent Black, Latino, and first-generation immigrant business owners and entrepreneurs. And in the last year and the last months, it's been a horrific transition from our mission as an organization, which is to build prosperity and power in community, to the radical transformation of those phone calls, not business owners that want to sign a new commercial lease for their dream that they've invested in our state and in our community, but it's from fathers calling and saying, my wife was just taken and I'm here with my baby, what do I do? It's from mothers who said, I need to sign documents. I have a work permit. I have status, but I'm going to go into a hearing and I want to make sure I can transfer parental rights to my child because I don't know if the rule of law will protect me. The stories of my clients haunt me. I want to thank Chair Garza and all the national leaders for coming here to bear witness to what's happening right now, not just to immigrant communities, but to our state and to our country and to the Constitution that we hold so dearly. I want to say a word of how we got here. We got here because thousands of masked gunmen descended on our city and they created a toxic soup of chaos and secrecy and public proclamations that these masked gunmen were absolutely immune from any accountability. And the context, the bowl in which this soup sat, was the rhetoric from the White House that said, Minnesotans, Somali Minnesotans are garbage and should be taken out. That did not happen. But I just want to be very clear. That is an expression of an intent of ethnic cleansing. And that's the bowl that this soup was poured into. And that didn't violate Somali Americans' rights, who, by the way, are more than 90% citizens in Minnesota. We're talking about citizens. More than half were born in this state. We're not protecting their rights. We're not protecting Latino rights. We're protecting all of our rights. I never thought that our lawyers would have to go into court and argue for the freedom of somebody the government doesn't even deign to suggest has committed a crime. They don't suggest that they're a flight risk. But our lawyer had to stand in front of a judge and demand the freedom of somebody who came here legally, who committed no crime, and who the government couldn't represent was a flight risk. We had to beg for the freedom of a just person, and the government is not even making an argument that it's not so. One of our clients served his captors donuts and coffee. He was a green card holder. He was seized. He was taken to your state, Chair. These stories are just emerging. We've heard stories and testimony from individuals that have heard that agents received bonuses for arrests, received bonuses for deportations. They would high-five each other when they got a deportation. There are so many of us Minnesotans have been taken to the desert on the border of Texas. They have no beds. They are exposed to the elements in tents. One gentleman shared that he was exposed to a sandstorm in the desert. And because everybody could not leave the tent, they had to relieve themselves inside their tent. And the debris was so significant that when he woke up, there was so much sediment he thought he had died. And for people that say, well, maybe it's only a couple days, or it's only a couple of weeks, or it's only a month of your life. One refugee shared this with me. She said, the difference of being a refugee or being incarcerated, not knowing how long you're going to be there, is the difference between diving into a pool and having somebody violently seize you and hold your head underwater. And every second you are underwater, not knowing how long you will be, not knowing if you will ever give up, that is the feeling of incarceration. That is the violation of our Constitution. And this is not for immigrants, this is not for green card holders, this is our Constitution. These are our rights. And we already see, and has been manifested in our city and in our state, and we have seen the response of our community, that Minnesotans understand we're not just protecting Latino rights, and we're not just protecting Somali rights, but we're protecting our own rights. For every constitutional observer that said, I'm going to peacefully observe and bear witness, yes, we're protecting our neighbors, but we are also our neighbors. And so I'm so grateful for every national leader that's come here to bear witness, to see what has happened, and to make a record, not just to protect the Latino community, and we need protection, but to protect all of us. In my family, a Latino family, we now have to have the conversation of who is white enough not to need a passport. The consensus is, I am, my wife is not. That is not because of the content of my character. And that is what is happening, not just to immigrants, not just to refugees, to every Minnesotan. And so I thank you, Chair Garza, I thank you, national leaders, thank you for bearing witness, and I thank everybody in this state who stood up for our Constitution. Thank you very much.